Good evening, Indira Naidu with Late Edition News. The Howard government has announced the first strike of its cost-cutting budget, a savage $2 billion slashed from tertiary education. Students face higher fees and universities are having their budgets cut. Education Minister Amanda Vanstone says the quality of tertiary education won't be affected. Labor and the Democrats are threatening to block fee rises in the Senate.
This is Amanda Vanstone's view of her $1.8 billion package of education slugs and cuts in a nutshell.
All in all, across the board, I think this is a damn good package.
The universities, students and the opposition beg to differ.
I can't say that I'm bubbling with joy.
We're talking about changing the education system into one which is solely accessible by people with financial means.
It is a massive slug on parents.
For a start, universities are to suffer a big cut in their operating grants, more than $620 million over 4 years, breaking John Howard's election promise to at least maintain the level of Commonwealth funding to universities.
It's $1.100. Universities can easily handle that.
Not so, say the universities.
There's been a reduction in operating grants over the triennium of about 10%, I would have thought.
Students are to be hit hard. The higher education charge, currently set at $2,440 a year, will become a three-tiered system, the increases ranging from 35% to 125%. Graduates will be slugged too. HECS repayments will kick in when their incomes reach $20,700, $8,000 below the current threshold, and a breach of an election commitment because it affects people currently in the system.
You've got us on that one.
Amanda Vanstone's big hit announcement is part of the Howard government's strategy of getting as much of the bad news as it can out of the way early, so it can present what will still be the toughest budget in years in the best possible light. Already, though, there are plans to reject the HECS increases in the Senate.
The Labor Party is now openly blaming former Prime Minister Paul Keating for being chiefly responsible for its federal election loss. An internal party report has revealed the ALP strategy of campaigning on Mr Keating's leadership backfired.
It wasn't much of a bus leaving the bus station, but it was the only one. We couldn't campaign on a positive policy agenda because no one believed us. They thought we were liars. We couldn't campaign on our record because, by and large, the perception of our record was that it stunk.
Labor is promising rank-and-file members more say in policies. Australia has officially started its preparations for the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games following the handover of the Olympic flag. Thousands turned out in the New South Wales capital to watch the symbolic ceremony and parade. Past and present athletes, including Olympic greats Raylene Boyle and Murray Rose, helped carry the flag through Sydney streets.
For Sydney's Lord Mayor, it was his most valuable Atlanta souvenir.
That's what all the fuss is about. Michael.
Wonderful.
And for the nation, an enduring focus for the next 4 years.
When it gets handed over at the stadium in 2000, we're going to have a lot to be proud of.
Thousands of Sydney-siders welcomed the Olympic rings. Athletes past, present and future parading the flag along city streets.
I think it's great. I'm looking forward to Sydney 2000. I can hardly wait.
It symbolises the aspirations of generations of the world's finest athletes. And it brings with it a responsibility that Sydney now carries to promote and protect all of those principles and traditions that the Olympic movement has stood for over 100 years.
For Olympians, it was a memorable moment.
It was very moving. We didn't realise how important it was going to feel afterwards. The flag has come home. I think that's a pretty big statement, and it's the start of Sydney. It's no longer Atlanta's Olympics.
A replica flag will hang here until September 2000, when the real flag returns to welcome the world to the Sydney Olympics.
Indonesian opposition leader Megawati Sukarno Putri has been released after more than 6 hours of police questioning in Jakarta. But she's been summoned for a second round of questioning next week, which she says she will attend. Police are quizzing Megawati as a witness into the alleged slandering of President Suharto by a democracy activist. Japan's worst outbreak of food poisoning in half a century has claimed its 8th life, a 1-year-old girl. Nearly 10,000 people have fallen ill across Japan. Hundreds are still in hospitals. Government officials still don't know for certain what caused the epidemic, but have blamed the outbreak on the popular garnish, cress. That claim has severely crippled the cress market, worth more than $200 million. Japanese farmers have threatened to sue. On the share market, the All Ordinaries Index finished the week on a lower note, falling almost 5 points. That's despite another big jump in the share price of beverage giant Coca-Cola Amatil. Overseas, stocks in Tokyo are down almost 200 points, and the Australian dollar is steady against the US currency. Boris Yeltsin has been sworn in for his second term as Russian president. 3,000 guests attended the ceremony in Moscow's Palace of Congresses. But the occasion has been overshadowed by continued fighting in Chechnya and concerns over the president's health. It was to have been a much bigger event in the Kremlin's historic Cathedral Square. The last Tsar, Nicholas II, was crowned there exactly 100 years ago. But this week the venue was changed and the ceremony scaled down, officially because of cost. However, there is speculation that the president is unwell again, a theory further fuelled by his plans to go on holiday after tonight's banquet. Shine, the film about the life of pianist David Helfgott, has dominated the nominations for this year's Australian Film Institute Awards. The film, soon to open in Australia, is named in 12 of the 14 categories, equalling the record set by Breaker Morant. The two stars of Shine, who portray Helfgott at different ages, are both in the running for Best Actor. Nominated in 9 award categories is Children of the Revolution, starring Judy Davis. The awards will be announced in November. Now the national weather for the start of the weekend. Some rain developing tomorrow in Perth, becoming fine in Melbourne and fine for the other capital cities. And that's the latest news. We'll leave you with pictures of an historic naval exercise in Sydney Harbour involving the minehunter HMAS Shoalwater and the submarine HMAS Winslow. Have a great weekend. Good night.